give this to our students, and we're like, okay, because we'll have.
Now, my wife, I just broke down. I said,
hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the show. Who are you? I am your host, Dr. Leah, and today is Magical Thursday. We are almost to the end of the week. It's been a great week. It's been a rainy week. It's been a snowy week, but all the same, we thank God because we are here today. So today we are having our guests, and we are going to be learning a lot from our guests because our guest is a certified high performance coach. He's a self-mastery expert, and he is helping people to, to self-discovery, to find new habits and beliefs so that you can live a life that you want to create. He has trained on a variety of topics such as positive development. We always hear about being positive, how to think positive, how to be grateful each new day. So we are going to learn a little bit more about positive development, self-advocacy, and success habits. He seeks out opportunities to empower people to recognize their uniqueness and trust self. And I love that because this show is actually to empower you, to empower me, to empower all of us so that we can be able to come out of those comfort zones, so that we can be able to become who we are supposed to be, to attain our purposes. So as we are preparing to bring our guests, I urge you to, take a pad, take a pen, take notes, and begin to realize yourself, begin to discover yourself, because this show is the show Who Are You? So without further ado, I will bring our guest up. Hello, Elliot. How are you?
Hi there. I'm doing well. Thank you. It's an honor to be on your show, so thank you.
Thank you so much. Welcome. And thank you that you've come to our show this evening. It's Thursday, and I know it's early morning at your end, so we are all on the same globe.
Yes. But that's what's great about this, right? We could connect with people halfway across the world, parts of the world that we probably wouldn't have thought of visiting, but now we're connecting with people from there, right? Which is awesome, and I love that.
Exactly. And just like you said, and that's already a positivity that you've just thrown out there for us, because sometimes we feel like, oh my goodness, we are just in lockdown and we don't know what to do, but yet we have this opportunity that technology has brought to us to connect all over the world.
Yes.
With people, learn from each other. So Elliot, please tell us who you are and what you do, and why do you do what you do?
Oh, thank you for this opportunity. Thank you for allowing me to be on your platform to share a little bit about who I am, what I do, and my story. Right. First, I want to say I am a father. A husband to my wife and a father to my kids. Right. That's very important to me. I love that. That's like a big value to me. So I just want to share that. Right. That's who I am. And then I'm a son to my refugee parents. Right. They have since passed, but I still like to honor them, honor their legacy, and keep that going. So I love mentioning that as well. And then when you were talking, I was like, "Ooh, who is she describing? This person sounds awesome." Right. But what I do, yes, I am a high performance coach. And I love explaining about what high performance is and having conversations with people about that. People are like, oh my God, what is a high performance coach? I was like, oh, I love this. I love this question, right? So basically high performance is exceeding at higher levels, right? Performing at those high levels over the long term, right? Things that it's sustainable, it's maintainable, right? Over the long term. And this isn't just necessarily saying, athletes are high performers, or only CEOs or C-suite people are high performers. No. A stay-at-home parent could be a high performer. An entrepreneur could be a high performer. A student could be a high performer, right? So it's building in those habits so that you can be a high performer. And it's like I explained earlier, it's performing at high levels. How do you define that, right? Everybody defines that differently. So that's what I do, and that's what I enjoy doing, and enjoy guiding people to get to those levels, to build up those habits.
Wow, awesome. And I just love the way you have you have kind of defined what high performance is and exceeding at high levels over a long period of time. Because we know sometimes we've just started the new year and everybody has, set certain goals and everybody has set certain, have begun to create certain new habits, but it's always very difficult, especially, to maintain those for a long time. And,
Yes.
I'm so glad that today we are going to talk about it. So tell us, is high being a certified high performance coach, was it something that you were always thinking about? Was it something that you wanted to be, or is it something that was triggered by another different situation or circumstance or eagerness to something else?
I would say I fell into it, right? I did not grow up saying, "Oh, I want to be a high performance coach one day." No, I fell into it. And
Mhm,
kind of like what you mentioned there, right? I was struggling. I knew there was something more for me and was
mhm,
jumping from job to job, and I wasn't enjoying my life, right? My relationships were not good. Even relationships with my wife and my kids were not good. And I wasn't enjoying it. And then, it was, um, I was at a live event sharing within a small group, thousands of
mhm,
people in the room. It was a 4-day event. First day, second day, awesome. Like the room was rocking. I was loving it. I was all into that energy. Third day, I did not want to go. I was in bed at the hotel, laying in the fetal position, crying, right? Literally crying to myself, tears coming down because what was shared the second day, I was super excited about it. There was an opportunity to become a coach, and this is the opportunity. And I knew I wanted that.
mhm, mhm,
But then I was
mhm.
afraid to take that step. I was afraid. So that's why I was in the fetal position crying. I was like, oh my gosh, why am I crying? I love what's been going on the first 2 days.
Mhm. Wow. Wow. So let me just retract back. You say,
Sure.
you've told us, you had a job and you were always, you are of course happy when you had the job, but then the first day, the second day, and every time you're going on and on, it was not really making you happy. And then you just, you decided, okay, you want to do something that is making you happy. Tell us, what makes you happy to be a high performance coach?
Oh, number one, being present, right? Being
Mhm,
present
mhm,
in my relationships, being present in
mhm,
conversations. And I love that piece because I'm allowing the person I'm talking to be
mhm,
heard and to be
mhm,
seen, right?
mhm.
Because I want that same from them. I'm going to sit
Okay.
here and listen to their story. I'm going to be curious, find out about them. And that's led me to being less judgmental, right? Being more clear about who I want to be, how I want to interact with others. It's been such a big difference for me in my life personally.
Mhm, mhm. And it's beautiful because it seems that you've really gained a whole new perspective of life and a whole new growth direction. So tell us a little bit about how you coach your clients, and talk to us about a situation, anonymous of course, of when you felt like, yes, now I am in the right place because of the feedback or the review or the just you watching someone who was from a 0 point, and there was just this steep growth where you could sit and say, yes, now I know I am fulfilling my purpose.
Yes. And what I want to touch on is like scheduling time blocks, right? So a story I want to share, I want to make this simple, right? It doesn't have to be complicated. It doesn't have to be complex or hard. I had a client of mine, she was like, I want to fit in time to read. I love reading. I enjoy reading. I was like, okay, how much time do you want to get in to read? She's like, I want to read
Mm,
like 2 hours a day. She's like, I just don't have the time to read. I don't know where to fit it in, how to fit it in. I was like, okay, how did you remember to come on a call today with me? Well, I blocked it
mm,
out in my calendar. I was like, okay, do you think you could block out time in your calendar for reading? She's like, I never thought about that. I never thought that I could schedule in reading into my calendar. I was like, yes. Do you want to schedule in 2-hour time blocks or 1 hour? Can you split that up? She's like, oh, I'll try both ways. And something that simple, she took it, scheduled it in, came back the next week, had a conversation about it. She's like, oh my gosh, such a big difference it made. I was able to schedule in the time. I didn't have any more time in the day, right? She said, but I was able to schedule in it, put it in my calendar so that I made it a priority on my list to say, oh, I need to have some time to read because I enjoy reading. I love reading. And I was like, and just to hear that, right, for that client to discover that and fit that in and feel that joy of like, oh my gosh, I was able to find time to read, right? Something for herself, right? Taking the time for herself. And I was like, oh yes, this is why I enjoy doing what I do, right? Because then I get to join in on that little piece, right? It's something simple that she made a change in her calendar and was able to fit that in, right? That's why I enjoy what I do. Yeah.
Wow, that is awesome. And it might look so simple for, like it's just, that reading, having a passion of doing something, yet you don't know how to set that time to be able to do that. And, just having those small, simple steps, simple formulations to be able to do that really brings a huge difference in our lives and enable us to, grow in that different perspective, which is just awesome. So
yeah.
And there is that moment where people always think, okay, I have this big issue. I want to be in business. I want to come out of my 9 to 5 job, and I'm trying my level best to put things into perspective, but it doesn't go in a long run, or I don't know how to be able to sustain that together with whatever I want to put. People who have this kind of mixed feelings or mixed moments, how would you encourage them?
Yeah, right. So yes, have that big vision, have that goal at the end, and get that feeling of how it feel once you accomplish that, once you get that goal. But come back to the present day and control what you can today, right? I love to say we underrate today and we overrate tomorrow. So let's live in the now, right? Live in the present, because we can only control what we can control today, and not saying, oh, I'll put that off to tomorrow or I'll put that off to next week. No, control what you can now, because it's going to impact tomorrow or impact. So that's one piece. And another piece is, too many times I work with people who would have like 15 items on their to-do list. And here they are, they're crushing it, right? They're doing such a great job in their day. They've crossed out maybe 10 items, but then they go back to revisit and say, oh, I'm a failure because I didn't finish the last 5. Oh, I didn't do a good job because I didn't finish these last 5 to-do items. I was like, no, look at the big picture. You finished 10 out of those 15, right? Finish those 10 out of 15. That's a great accomplishment. So I just have people list 3 things, right? List your top 3 priorities you need to get done. Deadlines, things that are on the top of the list. Finish those first. And then if you have time, add something else to it that day. And if you don't, you might just finish those 3 and then be done and then move on to the next thing for the next day, right? So just be intentional about that piece and setting that intention.
Wow. And that's very good. When you said setting intention and being intentional with what you want. And it's just about setting 1, 2, 3 things and not looking at the perfection side of it, but just looking that you are able to do that and complete it. Then, you keep on completing your goals as you continue along run the way you perfect them to the level that you want to see them. We are going to make a short break, and when we come back, we are going to hear more from Elliot, and we are also going to get Elliot to tell some 5 simple nuggets, or just 5 simple skills that we can implement on our day-to-day life, so that we can begin to ensure that those goals, those steps, those habits, those personal development goals that we are setting will be a long-term goals that we are setting, and not just what we do today, tomorrow we get tired. So do not go anywhere, just stay tuned. We will be back in a minute. Welcome back. Welcome back. This is the show, Who Are You? I am your host, Dr. Leah, and our guest today is Elliot Vang. Elliot Vang is a certified high performance coach, and he has already given us a little bit about his story. So as we go on, I have, and I know it's, why I love this question is because I think it gives people a lot of motivation and a lot of encouragement. And, one thing is that we know that as we go by, we will love to enjoy the triumph. So please tell us, what was your biggest triumph as you became a certified high performance coach?
Oh, wow, that's a loaded question there. Let's see. Like early on or now or kind of just whenever?
Wherever. So just, considering you moved from a normal 9 to 5 job or wherever you did, and you decided to become a certified, high performance coach. And definitely there are those moments where you say, this is the triumph I have been looking for. And you feel, yes, I have arrived and this is it.
Well, going back to what you asked a little bit earlier, but why did I become a high performance coach? I just wanted to touch on that a little bit. Mm-hmm. Like at that live event, we were sharing, and we were in a small group, 5 of us. One lady that we shared, after sharing, she pulled me aside and said, "Elliot, I just want to let you know that you're the most inspirational person in this room." Wow. And I said, thinking to myself, like, me? Like, there's like coaches and authors and speakers and all of these different people in the room. And I was like, oh my gosh, me? And then I was like, oh, and I asked her, I was like, why? Like, why, how did I resonate with you? How did I come across? She's like, one, you were being authentic, you were being real, and you were being yourself. And you were vulnerable, like you just shared openly. I was like, oh my gosh. And she was my champion at that time, right? She was the one that really pushed me over the edge and said, okay, this is what I need to be doing. This is what I want to be doing, right? Because I come from education background and I love doing that as well. But there was a lot of bureaucracy that goes into that, right? There's a lot of stuff that were out of my control that I couldn't control, that I wanted to, but I wasn't able to. So I was like, okay, this is the next path for me. This is the path that I want to go down. And this is why I want to do what I'm doing now. And I've loved it, enjoyed it. It's like no looking back, best investment I've ever made in myself.
And it's very good, and it's always very interesting that, when you don't even know how powerful and valuable you are, then it just reflects in a situation or in a place where you already see other people better, but then somebody just tells you from nowhere that, wow, you are an inspiration. Tell us all through, what are the lessons that you have learned yourself through this journey that you have been on? And, lessons that you'd say, these lessons I would want to share with people so that they can know, do not be afraid to jump into that passion that you have.
Yeah, right. It's like, I love to quote or talk about Jeff Bezos, right? Leader of Amazon. He says he only needs to know 60% of a project before he takes that step. Right. He doesn't need to. Sometimes we as humans, we just want, I want to make sure that I know 99% before I take that next step, because I'm afraid or I'm not sure what's going to happen. It's like, here he is, the CEO of Amazon, only needs 60% to take that step. I'm like, gosh, we as humans, we need to stop like saying, oh, I need, because I was there, right? I was like, I need to know what's going to happen next before I take this step. I want to know things that I can control before I take this next step. And it's no, let's take that action, take that step. Because sometimes, or a lot of times, we as humans, we don't ask ourselves what makes us happy, what we actually want to do. And we just follow what the family lineage has been, the family employment career has been, or the people around us are saying, oh, you're good at this, just follow that. And you just kind of follow what your parents do or what society kind of tells you what to do. And you don't follow what makes you happy, what brings you joy, right? We have control over that. We have power over those types of decisions.
Wow, awesome. And how would you, let's say, how would you do things differently? Given the chance that to say that, okay, now you're starting all over again. How would you do things differently for somebody who is a beginner? How would you say, if I were now in this position, I would totally do things differently?
Yeah, so people ask me that, right? I recommend, I say, hey, go and find a group, a community, a network of people that are doing what you want to do. Because we tend to lean on our friends, our closest friends, our families. And sometimes, we love them, but they're the ones who say, oh, you shouldn't be doing that. You're wasting your time with that. That's not for you. Right. But in yourself, you feel like, oh, this is not for me. I want to do this other thing. But then you don't get the support from your family. And there's other families that are there to support you. Right. But sometimes the people closest to us are the ones who kind of like say, oh, that's not for you. So I would say, if I had to do it over again, I would surround myself with a group of people, a network of people, my community, of what I want to do, so that I can lean on them when I'm in a crisis. I can learn from them when I don't know something. Like, oh my gosh, I'm struggling with this challenge. Can you help me with that? Yeah, sure. We talked about that last month, right? Come here, I could help you with this and that, right? So just kind of building that network and that community so that you can lean on them.
Wow, awesome. And you've just said it very well, being in a group of people who, will be all out to support, a network where you will be able to learn, they will learn from you, you are able to ask for support when you need it. And, I like what you said, we don't need to have 100% of assurance of what is coming. We just need 40 to 60% is enough knowledge for you to begin to start going. Because when we look at babies, they even have a 0% to know that if I stand, I will fall down, So it's very, looking at where people are at in this generation, that we should understand that we only need between 40 to 60% knowledge of, the project that we are getting ourselves into. So Elliot, give us 5 techniques that people can carry or take away, that they can say, okay, these 5 techniques I can begin to implement.
1, making sure, asking yourself, be clear about who you want to be, right? Ask yourself that daily. Make sure, like, who do I want to be today? What's my intention? Like, how do I want to show up in this world, right? Right from the time you get up, so that you're setting that intention and you're not leaving it to checking your email and then now you're dealing with somebody else's issues or problems or agenda, right? So being clear about who you want to be, how you want to show up in this world, right? Another piece is being intentional about your calendar, right? Make sure block times in your calendar for the things that are most important to you, right? Say yes to yourself. I like to tell people, say yes to yourself, right? Stop saying yes to everybody else and then leaving you at the end of the day and you're tired or burnt out and you can't do the things you want to do. So being intentional about your calendar and time block those things. Time block those things. And if reading is important to you, time block that out. If hanging out with your family is important to you, time block that out, right? How when we go to work or 9 to 5, whatever job, how do we go to lunch? When do we know to go to lunch? Because we set a time, right? Say, oh, I'm working 9 to 5, but from 12 to 1 is my lunchtime, so that's when I go to lunch. There's that intention. There's that blocking out time. We could do that with our schedule. We have control over that. And for those who say, but I don't want to be like a robot and have my whole day planned out. Fine, right? But then also schedule in flexible time or free time or me time. But also don't schedule in flexible time and then you end up sitting in front of the TV and not doing the things that you want to do, right? So me time could be reading, meditation, yoga, exercise, whatever you want to fit in there. Something that's productive or going towards your purpose, right? Wow. So I know I mentioned a few things there. So
yes, please go ahead. We are enjoying it. It's always good. Yeah, so I don't want to cut you. Just continue.
Okay, so I talked about clarity, scheduling, right? Making sure that you're intentional about that, and be present, right? This has been such a big piece for me. I used to work on my computer all day. My son right? He'll come and talk to me, and I'm still working on my computer, and I'm listening to him halfway and nodding, right? And then an hour later, he comes and checks, hey, Dad, remember I said that it's time for me to go to practice? And I'll be like, what? We had that conversation? And I totally forgot about it, right? So the next time, he'll come and talk to me, I'm like, hey, give me 1 minute, okay, son? And I'll finish typing what I need, my thought, because I don't want to lose my thought. And I'll literally turn my body, right, to him and give him that attention, my eye contact. Because what I noticed was when I would go into his room, he's playing his video game, I'll have a conversation with him, ask him to do like a chore or something, and he would nod yes. An hour later, I check, he hasn't moved, he hasn't done the chore. But I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't get mad at him because that's what I did with him, right? We as parents, or we as older adults to kids who are always watching us, we are role models to them. And they see and hear everything we do, and they're gonna copy that, right? So we can't get mad. It's like if I'm swearing all the time and he's swearing, I can't be like, why do you keep swearing? Because I'm role modeling that for him. He's like, well, you're doing it too. And I'm like, oh yeah, you're right. I can't get mad at you. Right. So be present in your relations, and such a game changer in how the types of conversations that you're able to have. Right. I just have those types of conversations with my wife as well. I'll be doing something. She'll talk to me, nod, yes, yes, yes. Later on, then we get into this fight or argument and I'm like, oh, yes, that's me. And I have to own that. Right. So take ownership of what I do. And then that's another piece. Own up to the things that don't go right. By no means am I someone who has everything figured out, does everything right. No, I have bad days too. But reflecting on that though, right? And asking yourself those questions of, oh, what happened here? What were my intentions, right? What is the identity of that piece? And then what's the action I want to take from it, right? I put myself through this talk not too long ago. I scheduled a time to meet someone. I wrote it down on my calendar incorrectly because of the time zone difference, right? I wrote it down wrong. I didn't check my email. She sent me email saying, oh, are we still meeting today? And this is an important meeting. And I said, oh my gosh, I totally missed this call. And here I was thinking to myself, oh, how can I be so irresponsible? How can I be not have my schedule correctly? I'm so bad, right? I put myself through this talk and I said, okay, what action I can take from this then? Right? And then kind of flip that meaning around. Like, oh, I made a mistake. I own up to it. And I'll just reach out back to her, right? So I was able to email her, call her, and have a conversation and say I own it and apologize. And then we were able to connect later on and everything is fine, right? But here at that moment, I was like, oh my God, so bad. I can't believe that this happened to me. I can't even keep my schedule straight, right? What kind of person am I? And I was like, hey, we're human beings. That's going to happen, right? That's an honest mistake, and I'll own up to that. So I hope that helps.
That helps so much. And, you know, it's one thing, to accept, and, you know, just what you say, taking ownership and understanding that we are not perfect and you can always miss something, but it's how you own it and how you work to make it better. Because those things, you know, and we've given very good examples, especially, you know, parents, there's certain things that we do and then we keep on going back and telling the kids, you're not supposed to do that. Yet we forget that we are the ones who are showing them to do that, you know.
Exactly, yeah.
And when you were talking about, you know, your kids your son coming talking and say, yeah. Then, you know, it's like, it was just like, get off my shoulder. Then I was like, yes, it happens to me as well. You know, there are times that I'm just working and I'm thinking, you know, they will be coming and asking all those things and you just say yes. But when you realize what you are actually saying yes to, you haven't done it, you know, and then you go to the rooms and you want them to do something and they will also do the same thing. And then you go back and you'll find them in the same position and you just can't be mad. You can't, quarrel them. You can't punish them because they took it that from you. So thank you so much for sharing with us all those wonderful, habits to begin to, correct ourselves, to begin to develop ourselves, to begin to create those intentions and following through with them, to begin to accept ourselves and appreciate ourselves as well, knowing that we're just human and making sure that we set time for everything that we want to do, especially me times, family
Yes.
time, or just time for you to refresh so that you can be more productive with your days and productive with the things that you do. So thank you very much. Tell us how people can get in contact with you when they want to work with you or they want to learn more about self-development and keeping along being on the high performance.
Yeah, before I get there, I also want to share one more piece, right? It's
Yes.
like you mentioned earlier about this time of the New Year's resolutions. A lot of people want to say, I want to start being more healthy, right? And go and work out and exercise and lose weight, right? And having that vision of where you want to be, say like March 1st, I want to lose 20 pounds, right? And then, okay, that's a great vision. Come back to present day and the choices you make today, ask yourself, right? Are they aligned with where you want to be for that goal, right? Make those choices of, oh, am I I'm too tired today. I don't want to go to the gym. I don't want to go work out. Is that decision aligned with where you want to be by March 1st? If not, hey, sometimes you're going to have to pick yourself up, get yourself to the gym, maybe you not do your full 1 hour, 2 hour workout, however long you want to go, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, so that you keep that momentum going and don't get into that mindset of, oh, I'll do it tomorrow or I'll do it the next day, right? Yeah. Because if we get into the habit of that, then that sticks. And then that's the habit that we get in and we're like, oh, I'll just do that tomorrow. Or I'll do that next day, right? So just ask yourself, oh, is the choice I'm making now aligned with where I want to be, where I want to go? And if it is, go ahead, move forward with that decision. If not, then make a different decision, right? So I also want to leave that with the listeners here as well.
Awesome. So share with us your contacts.
Yeah, so you can connect with me on my website, elliotvang.com. As you can see, 2 L's and 2 T's, okay? elliotvang.com. On there, I have some free resources and resources about you being intentional about your day, right? How can you be more intentional about your day? What types of questions do you need to ask yourself, or can you ask yourself to be more present in your day, right? There's some free resources on there as well. So they can connect with me on my website at elliotvang.com.
Thank you. So thank you so much, Elliot. That was a very, very productive and very encouraging and empowering moment that you've shared with us there. Thank you all our viewers that have been watching with us, and thank you so much for those who are coming. Thank you, Omega Mother Seal. She says glad to hear us, and coming from a reading teacher is awesome for her, exactly. So thank you so much. And all the same, tomorrow we have a new guest, and our guest will be from Gran Canaria. So we will be on the same platform, same time, same host, but different guest. And as of today, we say thank you very much and stay blessed, stay healthy, and keep up to the lockdowns. Don't get all over. Let's just stay healthy as we continue to wait for our vaccine to go out and continue to, watching yourself so that we can be able to come out productively, healthy, and we can make our areas a better place. So thank you very much. And until tomorrow, goodbye.
Thank you, everyone.